Good morning. Happy Valentine's Day. It is Wednesday, February 14th, 2024. Welcome to Breakfast with Bridgett. I'm your host, Bridgett Ellison. And, we are celebrating Valentine's Day, and we have a very special guest coming up today to talk about a very positive way to get involved and give back in your community today. And it also deals with a positive way to work through our grief and band together. So we'll have that coming up a little bit later. But first, we want to get you ready to get out there and enjoy this Valentine's Day no matter what you're doing. And meteorologist Candace Campos is here with a very heartwarming forecast, some nice temperatures for us, right? It should keep our hearts warm, but not too hot. Can we hear? We can't hear Candace. Candace, can't hear you. Can't hear you. Is it? Okay, she's. 1 second. There you. I see her. Yes.
You hear me?
Yes. And a very happy Valentine's Day to a very special little girl. Happy Valentine's birthday.
Yeah, I've got a Valentine's Day baby at home. She is officially 4 today. So thank you, Bridgett. Yeah,
Happy
it's
birthday to
it's just a
Cece.
nice day. Whether you're into the Valentine's Day or not, the weather's going to be great. But with that being said, there's going to be a lot of hearts on my graphics and maybe a few puns.
And we
So
love
get
it
ready,
because
everybody.
you know what? We love some emojis and some graphics. So go for it.
Let's bring it on. Yes, cuddly weather this morning, cuddly cold this morning as temperatures are starting off in the 30s, 40s, and a few 50s out there, but it's going to be a near normal day. And as we head throughout the rest of the week, temperatures are gradually going to start warming up. And then as we head into your weekend, rain and storms will return. So right now, again, 39 in the areas of Marion County. We're in the mid 40s there. For you guys through Palm Coast, 51 in Sanford, same in Kissimmee. So certainly a chilly start across Central Florida, but a overall lovely day as temperatures are going to be rebounding very nicely back to where we should be for this time of the year into those low 70s. So whether you're taking lunch outside, maybe take that option to sit outside for dinner tonight. Sometimes you always look at the person you're going to dinner with and you're like, do you want to sit outside? I don't know. Today's going to be a day you certainly want to do that. So that's certainly some good news. Overnight lows, though, into early Thursday morning will be down into the 40s and 50s. Then things start to change as we head into your Friday and Saturday. We still have a big ridge of high pressure in control, and that's going to keep us dry till Friday. Here comes our next front. Right now, it's bringing a snowstorm across the Rockies. This is expected to start making its way into the area come Saturday and into Sunday. As of now, we do have our main impact being excessive rainfall. So some modeling is holding on to the chance of seeing like 1 to 2 inches of rain between Saturday and early Monday morning. So what happens right in between that? The Daytona 500. You can see temperatures are going to be on the cooler side. We'll stay in the low 60s because of all the cloud cover, rain-cooled air. We'll be gusty at times, staying mostly cloudy. Not the perfect Daytona 500. It's certainly not a perfect weekend, but hopefully we can kind of clear out those skies, and the skies can, the parting over Daytona Beach would be great. Rain chances, again, will be up to about 50 to 60% for Saturday and Sunday. And then you can see as we head into your President's Day, it's a long holiday weekend. A lot of kids are off for school. Some people are off for work. We'll be drying out for Monday. It's just always tough when it's a long, fun holiday weekend and we've got rain for the majority of it. But you've been notified ahead of time. Rain, beneficial at least. Certainly need some rain in the forecast. But not bad. Beautiful Valentine's Day. You can't beat today's forecast.
Yeah, I really think it's shaping up nicely. I think it's so funny that the rain pops up on the Daytona 500 because each of the times I've tried to go, there have been rain delays and you have to go home, come back. It's really funny how the rain pops up on that weekend.
And it's not like the Daytona 500's in the middle of the summer. You expect that for the whichever one it was. That's like during like the June or July. I can't remember now, but it's just, when you have a June or July event, you're guaranteed to have rain. But normally middle February, you're like, we'll have a chance.
It happens
But
a
it
lot.
happens And this year too with El Nino, it certainly has been a more of a wetter and weather patterns. So, you're guaranteed to have some outdoor plan,
Yeah.
messed up because of rain this winter.
Well, I just hope it doesn't cause it to get pushed into Monday. So, with fingers crossed.
Yeah, I hope so too. I hope so too. Fingers
Yes.
crossed. We'll have a better
Checkered flags
idea. We'll really turn.
crossed. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And, we'll continue to keep our eyes on it as models get in better agreement. So,
We still got time. All right. Thanks, Candace. See you a little later. Okay, we want to check in on Trooper Steve. He's a trooper. What can we say? This man was in the bathroom throwing up, and here he is again today. I was horrified, Steve. I was so surprised you were here today, but I'm glad you're feeling better.
When I walked in, you were like, "Oh, you're here." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm here."
Workaholic.
Well, we've I don't want to get into it. We got to count those days carefully. So I want to be
Yes,
very
you want to
cautious of
make sure
when
you
I
don't lose
use
your vacation days. I understand.
absolutely. But yeah, no, yesterday, Bridget, was a
I
mess.
did spray the place
Hydrated a
after you
bunch
left.
yesterday. Well, don't worry. I wipe down. I'm one of those people that wipe down my desk anytime that I'm not feeling well. But good for you for spraying,
We,
because
we
we
sprayed.
do come here. We bring all this stuff we get out in the open, and then we come here all close together, and we're trying to keep
It's
each
close
elbow space.
quarters.
It's been rough. But I've been taking these. Where's my bag at? These liquid IVs, and you
Okay,
just mix
yeah,
them with your water,
yeah.
and it replenishes
Electrolytes.
your electrolytes and
hmm
all that stuff. I took 2 of those yesterday, one this morning. Man, I'm
I'm
on
so
top of the
glad.
world right
Yes,
now.
yes. I'm glad. I'm glad. I'm glad you're
You're
feeling better.
preaching to me.
Because when I left out, I was not here yesterday for the stream because I had to go do muffins with mom with my kiddos, and
Oh, oh,
as I was leaving the green room, I could hear you retching in there.
oh, man. Oh, Lord. Well, that was not listen, this is coffee talk, so I'll tell you, it was rough. It was dry. I was struggling,
He
y'all.
struggled
I
the
was
whole
struggling.
show yesterday morning, so I kudos to
Just
you.
kept it. I just did my stuff, stared at you guys, didn't talk, and then went
You couldn't
away.
even tie your
Kept it
tie.
simple.
You couldn't even tie your tie.
Oh,
Oh,
because it was just, y'all know, anybody's watching right now, you guys have been where you've been so sick where you're functioning, but anything
mm,
touches your throat and you want to throat punch somebody.
yeah.
And that's about where I was at yesterday.
Oh, so glad you're better. All right, enough of the TMI, but we're a family around here. We started off
Amen.
good
Amen.
this morning with the roads, but now I see some problems. So what's going on?
Yeah. This is just the normal delay stuff
Oh,
we're
okay.
seeing. It is pretty busy out there this morning, though. I am picking up a little normal than regular kind of traffic. So east and westbound just add some time. No problems, though. I'm not picking up any crashes anywhere. Your drive times where they should be on your Valentine's Day. Pretty much everyone's got to work anyway, so we're seeing what we normally see out there. I-4 104 puts us in Volusia, just east of 1792, Lake Monroe area. Nice and smooth out here, but if you watch the median out there, there's a trooper sitting out there, so just be
Mm,
careful. No speeding, please. No crashes east or westbound, but the delay is slightly there. Nothing that's going to time us out too much. Out by the airport, if you're maybe going in, going out, or Uber, I know that's a big story of the morning.
mm-hmm.
No major issues. We are seeing those routine delays, though, over in Point Siena, Laufman area, just west of Intersection City. But really surprised, we're in really good shape when it comes to crashes. Titusville, the coast, 95. I will actually be in Titusville today. It's not part of our Trooper Steve on patrol, but I'm going to be hopping out with their traffic unit today, riding around, Bridget. So if I meet a viewer, it's not going to be proactive. It's going to be a reactive
Uh-oh.
interaction out there. So I'll be out there kind of just hanging out with their patrol units today, seeing what they do, and that's what we get to do here, being Trooper Steve. So it's
Might
nice.
see you, don't want to be you, huh?
Basically. And then at 10 a.m. today, we are reviving serving those who serve. So when we did away with the 9 a.m. show, some things got to put on the shelf for a little bit, but they're super important. And
hmm
News 6, we like to highlight our veterans. So we had a viewer actually nominate somebody to get featured. So I'm going to be driving out to Daytona Beach Shores, meeting with a retired lieutenant colonel, 40 plus years in the Army, and have a nice discussion. It's better than just that 4 minutes of TV when we can have a full blown discussion right here in the
Yes,
truck. So I'm
that
excited for
is
that.
true. That's very true. Looking forward to that. So that's at 10 today.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And then I'm going to go home and relax.
Yes, electrolytes, all of that. Happy Valentine's. And thank you, Trooper
Yes, same
Steve.
to you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. So, like he mentioned, we're able to, in this format here on News 6 Plus, have a little bit of a longer, more in depth discussion and get to those things. A lot of times we have to wrap up for time when we're on the air doing the regular newscasts on WKMG. So, with that in mind, today we're also going to talk about a special blood drive that is coming up today in honor of our legacy organ donation awareness as well as the Modern Widows Club. That's coming up. But first, I want to tell you about Uber and Lyft, DoorDash. There is a walkout happening today, so be aware of that if you rely on those rideshare groups. Thousands of drivers across the country and right here in Central Florida are expected to strike. They've planned walkout comes as drivers with Uber and Lyft are demanding higher pay and better working conditions. The group Justice for App Workers plans to stop giving rides to and from all airports in 10 cities, including Orlando. And that is planned for 2 hours around lunchtime today. So be aware of that. About 100 local drivers are expected to be involved if you use Uber and Lyft. A quick break. We'll be right back with that blood drive we want to tell you about on this Valentine's Day. Welcome back to Breakfast with Bridgett. You know, we mentioned at the top of the half hour how we like to highlight different things. It is Valentine's Day. And so today we have a special interview with the Modern Widows Club as well as our Legacy Florida. And we have Carolyn Moore and Kia Blair Malone with us this morning. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Morning.
And we're excited to have you because this is, it is Valentine's Day, but it is also a very significant time for you, Carolyn. And, your story is one that's been, very grief-filled, but also inspiring. Can you tell us a little bit more about Modern Widows Club and how that came about for you after being widowed?
Yeah, sure. Modern Widows Club really was me willing to just sit with two women who were widowed and mentor them and share some of what I had learned over the last 10 years. We started in 2011 here in Winter Park, and I learned something, and that is widows know widows. That's a very universal rule. And so two widows came, and then they wanted to bring two of their friends, and it just continued to grow until we became a nonprofit in 2014. And now women find us all over the world and join us in our virtual communities and our in-person.
And of course, it's a heartbreaking group to be a part of. You lost your husband Chad in 2000 tragically in a crash in downtown Orlando. Tell us more about what happened because his life was able to save lives. You both had made a decision long before that you wanted to be a part of organ donation.
That's right. In my 20s, I was a nurse, and I saw the power of organ donation with preemies, actually. And so it was a very casual, normal conversation for me to have with him about if that ever happened someday, he'd have to decide for me, and I'd have to decide for him. So when we were in the car accident, which we were coming home from Valentine's Day, I already knew at the hospital when he had severe head trauma when they asked me, and he wouldn't have wanted anything else. And really the only thing he needed was blood. But he ended up giving all of his organs. And what makes it such a unique story is a real heart was actually given on Valentine's Day, his heart to a man in West Virginia named Greg.
And Kia told me your story prior to us setting up this interview to talk about the blood drive today, that, there was a part of you during that horrible time of grief and loss that you really didn't want to lose Chad on Valentine's Day just because of the significance of the day. And now you've been able to sort of turn it into, this beautiful memory and legacy that's living on.
Right. Modern Widows Club really is about finding purpose and meaning from the pain. And so for me, that was giving blood. And what I didn't realize is once you have a community of women that want to support you, they started coming along and giving blood on the same day. And I was,
Mm-hmm.
it was so moving for me. And so then we inspired all of our communities all over the country to do it. Evidently, Valentine's Day is a slow day for giving
Mm.
blood. And so we want to elevate that and give the gift of life back on this day.
And I want to talk a bit about our legacy because, Kia, you work with, other groups across the area to spread awareness of organ donation and tell stories like these, right?
Absolutely. And today is multifaceted. Today is National Organ Donor Day,
Mhm.
as well as Valentine's Day. And this is a wonderful opportunity to raise awareness, to talk about organ donation with your families, just like Carolyn and Chad did. It's a wonderful opportunity to give blood. It's a national day to recognize all of those donor heroes, those donor families who say yes to donation and who are working to save the more than 104,000 people nationally who are waking up this morning hoping that they get that phone call that their life saving organ is available for them. More than 5,000 Floridians need that same phone call this morning, and 200 Floridians today need a
Mm.
heart. And because we're talking about Valentine's
Yeah.
Day, 200 Floridians need a heart. And so it's just a wonderful opportunity to spotlight, Carolyn's story and all of the amazing things that she has survived and the stories that she's been telling and her story as well. But just to remind people of, all of those donor heroes and their families who have said yes to the gift of life, and to encourage people just to take a quick moment and to talk about what you would want at the end of your life.
And when we look at the miracle of organ donation, many people don't realize just how many things have to really line up. I've done some stories about this, and just it's nothing short of a
Mhm.
miracle. And just if you're not a spiritual person, it is just so spiritual how it all lines up when you have someone who's able to donate, who wanted to donate. The organs are viable after they, pass away, and then it's matched in time with someone. It takes a lot to make that happen.
You're right. And timing is
Mhm.
of the essence. It doesn't happen as quickly as you may see in the movies or on TV. It takes a while. Like Carolyn was sharing with her story, you
Mhm.
were actually in that car crash the day
Yes.
before Valentine's
Yeah.
Day.
Mhm.
And I'll let you tell it, how you shared with the doctor, please don't declare him,
Yes.
Mm.
on Valentine's Day because you
Yeah,
didn't want to lose
I
him.
really did. I didn't want that date, but there was no choice in the matter. And in fact, he was a double lung heart donor to someone in Miami who actually
Wow.
died while he was on the operating table.
Oh my
So they
gosh.
had to immediately send his heart to the next viable donor. That happened to be in West Virginia.
Wow.
And 2 years later, I actually, after communicating anonymously, I got to meet them. And it was an extremely emotional moment meeting his wife because his wife thought she was going to become widowed.
Mm.
I had no idea I was going to become widowed.
Mm.
And yet
Yeah.
there we were with each other. And he was
Hmm.
the same age as my husband. We were married the
Wow.
same and we same time and our children were the same age. It
Wow. I
could
have
not have been
chills.
a
Mm.
situation. Yeah.
Hmm. And when you work with the other widows, how are you, able to help each other through the club? What happens? Because just yesterday we talked to a grief counselor
Mhm.
about, the ways that times like this do really trigger, those feelings
Yeah.
of grief, even, when it's even been years, because, grief is it comes in waves. It doesn't have a timeline necessarily.
That's right. And we don't believe that it has a timeline. We actually believe in empowering women. We have something called Hope, Heal, Grow, Lead, because we believe that there's a healthy pathway forward from grief to growth. So sometimes you're growing, but it feels like grief, but it's growth. And so learning the difference and watching other women do it, being inspired by them, and actually really seeing the empowerment that they have gained from the support of a community. We can't really underestimate the power of social support
Mm-hmm.
because you're not really going to receive it from society. You really have to have someone who has gone through the experience to have the lived experience to understand you really see you, understand the longevity of it. The research that we do, it takes about 6 to 7 years to rebuild an identity after becoming widowed. And, it's really only identified for the first couple of years. And so we have a lot of awareness to raise
Mm-hmm.
around what really happens with widows and what society thinks.
So the blood drive is today, and you're really encouraging people to go wherever your closest donation center is to go give blood. But tell us more about how to get involved today with the One Blood Drive.
Well, since I'm closest to Winter Park, the donation center, I'm going to be there. And then some of the other Modern Widows Club ladies are going to be joining me. We're going to be wearing our shirts, and we're going to be loud and proud that we are now carrying on a legacy of love. That's what we call it. And just really think about just the what ifs. What if you needed this? And they always, I love that One Blood always sends me that, they tell me where my donation went, which always means a lot to me. And I don't know who the person is, but I know where they were located. And I am very spiritual. And I think that today, this very special blood on this very special day is going to go to someone very special in need. And
Yes.
for me, I feel a lot of fulfillment and joy from that. So from the pain has come this opportunity, and that's really what it is, an opportunity to transfigure that into this something more beautiful.
Right, and the grief counselor talked about that, and also I talked to a behavioral health counselor last week, and we talked about loneliness and grief, and a lot of times you can transmute that into going out and doing something for someone else and connecting with other people. Is not necessarily romantic, but love of community, love of other people that might also need to connect. So when we look at the Widows Club, how can people connect with you? How can we sort of reach out to those who might be dealing with grief and not really sure if anyone else understands them? How can we all connect with that club?
Very easily. Go to modernwidowsclub.org. And for those of you who really don't know where you are on the Hope Heal Grow Lead, there's a quiz right on our homepage that you can take, and that's where you start. Because widows come to us in all different, brand new widows, all the way to wanting to lead and be an advocate in the community. We serve all of those women.
And you don't have to be local to join the club and connect.
Nope.
You're online. You're doing virtual things as well.
That's right. That's right.
Awesome.
Thank you.
And Kia, when it comes to our legacy, and we're looking at the blood donations, but a lot of times that's where it starts with people thinking about how can I step it up from here.
Absolutely. And it gives you an opportunity to register to be an organ donor, whether that is at the DMV, or also you can go to donatelifeflorida.org. You can register there, and you can be, very specific about the gifts that you want to provide. But also just an opportunity to talk to your loved ones and express your wishes at the very end of your life. And like Carolyn said, really quick, casual conversation that surrounds, listen, I registered today or last week to be an organ donor. Please, carry out my wishes. And just know there's so many myths and misconceptions and all of this. One of the things is people think, oh, if I register, they're not going to do everything they can to save my life if I'm in a car crash. And that
Right.
is simply not the case. Doctors will do everything they can to save your life first. It takes a long time before organ donation comes into play. So rest assured that the medical team is doing everything they can to save your life before organ donation even becomes a part of the conversation.
Well, I love spreading this awareness. I love what you're doing with our legacy, and Carolyn, I love what you're doing with the club, and so I hope people will reach out. That's modernwidowsclub.org and ourlegacyfl.org. So Kia, Carolyn, thank you so much. Hope to see you again soon. Happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you, Bridget. Happy Valentine's Day.
All right, take care. Have fun at One Blood. All right, so that'll do it for us this morning on Breakfast with Bridget. We will be back tomorrow at 7:30. Take care and happy Valentine's Day.